Hi, everybody. Good to see you all. Oh, it's just a wonderful Mercury retrograde, and I hope you're doing great. I'm going to try to play this intro. Hang on one second. There we go.
What happened to 21-year-old Maura Murray, and where is she? Can we go back in time to see what was developing as Maura drove to her final destination? Starting with an email and a call to her boyfriend that afternoon, she seemed hurried. There was a snow day that day at school. At 3:30, she finally left campus. 10 minutes after Maura left campus, she withdrew $280 and headed straight for the liquor store. But did she buy the beer that was left in the car? Between 7 p.m. and 7:30 p.m., witnesses heard a thump. She had hit a snowbank and then vanished. Is there a clue that's right in front of us that explains it all? Aquarius is prominent in the sky on this day. It represents breakups, sudden decisions, and air travel. One thing is probable. She didn't just walk away that day. Someone was with her. Could it have been due to an alcohol-fueled breakup? Following the program, members can join us and use astrology to map where Maura might be found.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Val Evans. Thanks for joining me tonight. It is Friday night, and we're getting through the retrograde. Hope you guys had a great week. It has been difficult, but we are going to go through, try to figure out this next mystery. We're always focusing on the same cases lately because there's so much interest. But lately, we've had a couple of comments about the Maura Murray mystery, and I have Amy Jae in the green room. She's going to help us with some cards, as she always does, give us her input. And there's something wrong with my lighting here. I don't know what happened there. Does that work? Okay. So it's an interesting case. It is about 2 decades, and it has the true crime community stumped. So we're going to look tonight at a few of the timestamps on that afternoon and early evening of February 9th, and that was 2004 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. And so Maura was leaving Amherst. It seemed as if she was a bit in a hurried state. There were a lot of things going on in her life, and really tough stuff. Alcohol was very much a part of her life at the moment. Even her sister was a recovering alcoholic, and she was upset that I believe it was her sister's boyfriend or husband, had just taken her to the liquor store, and she was very upset about that. So she had also wrecked her dad's car, and just one thing after another was hitting this poor 21-year-old student. And then what happens is she vanishes. So we're going to take a look at those timestamps. And the one that we're going to start with is when she wrote the email to her boyfriend, and that was at 1 p.m. The next one we're going to do is 2:18 p.m. on the 9th, and that one is when actually she called her boyfriend at 2:19. And then I believe the next one is the ATM timestamp, and then the actual the time that she was seen after she plowed her car into a snowbank. And then what happens after? Nobody's really sure. They believe different things. I don't believe that there was a psycho nearby that just kidnapped her. I really don't. It's a nice community. It's a nice area. Um, I mean, that would have been 1 in a million chances, I think. But what happened around 7:30, 8 o'clock was the police showed up and she had vanished from her car. Uh, Witnesses had seen her there and then just they couldn't find her. So around 2009, 2010, her father, who has been such a big uh, part of this case, he's done his own investigations. He's looked for her. It is heartbreaking to see. He he believes that the police didn't do such a great job. So we'll take a look at the investigation as well. So I'm going to welcome Amy here. Hello, Amy. How are you doing?
Hello, and hello.
Happy weekend. Yes, and the first comment I see, doesn't really matter if it's nice community, nice area, psychers are everywhere. My favorite one is the Sean Doherty news outlets who say they're well manicured lawns. You know, you never know. You never know who's living in those neighborhoods. So you're right about that. This come up. So yes, and especially in nice areas psychos live. I agree. So hello, Shelley. Good to see you. Hope you survived the week. And Susie saying hi to Shelley. Everyone's saying hi to everyone. Okay, so Taurus Moon Tarot, interesting. The bus driver is where I land after looking at these charts for years, but not intentionally. Interesting. And I think they should have looked into the bus driver a little more and to have thoroughly searched all of the houses in the immediate area. Now, that's really interesting. And hello, Natalie. Good to see you. I've got a new webcam, so I got to remember to look right there. So everyone's saying hi to you, Amy. What we're going to do, I guess we'll show the crime chart first. And for those who are new here, who are not subscribers, what we do is we look at a crime, we look at what's in the sky, and we use ancient astrology. And way back then, they used to look at the sky to see who did what. And we now use our computers to do that. So it's a lot easier and we don't have to make calculations. So why not, see if it works?
Yeah, you don't have to make calculations, but you still have to make intuitive, you still have to be able to interpret it and be able to read it, which you do a fabulous job of. So I'm excited to see this chart. I haven't looked at any of it, so
now Allison is saying a psychic medium Sterling recently was asked about Maura. He said it was an abduction. We'll see. So her car damage, everyone's saying something about the bus, her car damage. And that really doesn't come up too much in some of the news reports about the bus. So an interesting angle there. When I look at the crime chart, I see Aquarius. And Aquarius is, it's suicide. So there are suicide themes where people can say, well, it was suicide. And it's a lot of discussion by the public about suicide. Mercury and in Aquarius can mean mind on suicide. I think there could be some suicidal feelings. Absolutely. She was in the dumps at that point. She felt bad. She felt guilty. I believe that she might have been running from somebody. She was doing things in a way where she felt fearful. It was chaotic. Suddenly, she's packing up her things. She's trying to get to any place up north, way far away from the college, and grabs some alcohol because she's in so much pain. This is a big emotional moment for her, whatever that was. And she's not telling anybody. Right. So that was the weird part. She didn't say anything to anyone. But when I see Aquarius, it's so crazy because that to me, now that's a stellium. A stellium is a collection of planets in a sign, and that's always one of our biggest clues. And when I see Aquarius, 9 times out of 10, there is a breakup involved. And so in the 5th house, breakup with a boyfriend. So that is I think a central theme here. And the other thing too is if you might see Jupiter there, right there on the ascendant. And as I said in my Instagram post, Jupiter is a partner or a significant other. So and we're not going to name names here because it would be terrible if we were pointing fingers and she actually was abducted or she did commit suicide. We wouldn't want to do that. But as soon as I saw this chart, I instantly thought of Scott Peterson because it's the same chart. Well, the same placement of Jupiter. And what does that mean when it's in the 12th and like right on the ascendant? What does that mean? Well, it means that the ascendant is the victim. Somebody's right behind her. And Jupiter retrograde usually means somebody that she knows. So there was also speculation that the police believe that there's a small chance there was somebody in the car with her. And I wonder if she, everybody makes mistakes. And when she went into that liquor store, she got wine, she got Bailey's. I don't believe in that, I guess they talked to the liquor store owner. I don't believe that she bought beer. So that might be the indicator that there was somebody in her car at some point. So the other thing too is, and you guys are great at poking holes in my theories. So I appreciate it. And I hope you are listening to what I'm saying now. Maybe I'm not going to be so focused on this angle later on once I see what you're saying. But I think that Aquarius means an airport. It means somebody's flying or something. Mercury, you can see right down there in the 5th house. In Aquarius, it means to drive very, very fast. And also with, there's also phone records that were missing apparently. And you see Neptune in the 5th house. And in Aquarius, that's electronic records are missing. Right next to Mercury, documents are missing. So that's a key part of this case that the documents, we can look into the bus driver or the neighbors or who was around the area. But I'm seeing a lot of missing documents here. And I believe there was a page of a phone record that was left out of what was maybe given to the police. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I read online. So Melissa's saying there was also a footprint on the inside of her car and outside of it, according to Julie Murray's TikTok. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes, Scott Peterson, as in Lacey and Scott Peterson. Yes, I know there are. Yes, Lacey Peterson's husband. And what do you think, Amy? As far as the case, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I think you hit on some things that I was getting to. So when you gave me her name, I hadn't heard of the case before because obviously it's been like almost 20 years since she's gone missing. So I pulled up her name. I wanted to see her photo. That helps me kind of tune into her energy.
Okay,
and so
great.
I got a few things prior to looking to anything, but really interesting. And I'd love to hear if because I know some of these people out here love the astrology, but they're also into the tarot and the all that kind of stuff too. So an interesting thing happened before she came up. It popped on my feed. It was about a completely different story.
Okay.
About someone that had disappeared for 8 years. She was in her early 20s. And she all of a sudden showed up. And she said, I never disappeared. I was estranged from my mother. And I pretty much separated myself. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened here. But I very much got energy around it. She was overwhelmed.
Yes.
It was a really... I think the fast moving energy was a very quick decision that I just need to get away. I just need to get out of here.
Mhm.
And that was some of the, and I do believe that boyfriend also, um, because I got something about an estranged boyfriend,
Okay.
something about alibi issues, not sure what that is, a single car accident. She was in bear country. And after I saw bear country, I kept hearing
Oops.
like a growling. So I'm like, okay, that was weird. So I felt it was very wooded where she was at. That she didn't have blood on her head, but may have
Oh, no.
sustained a closed head injury or a concussion, or the alcohol played into it as well, because I felt some disorientation about what was going on. Um, let's see. Yeah, I that those are some of the first things that came up. I don't know. I got something about an animal, like I don't know if it was a car animal thing, like she was swerving, or she almost hit an animal, or she did hit an animal. But I kind of felt there was something like that. But definitely single car. Now then, I watched a clip, and I did see an interview with someone who found her and said, I'm gonna go call the police, because this was that before cell phones for sure. And so he said, I'm gonna go call the police. I don't know if that's the bus driver guy. I felt very neutral about him. I didn't feel like he was involved. But if that was indeed the bus driver guy, but you could be talking about something completely different, because I didn't really get into a lot of the story. But I definitely think that she was running from something. I don't feel like she needed to get away, very overwhelmed. But I'm interested to see if there's anything in the chart that might show head, a head injury or something, because I feel like she hit her head and there was some type of disorientation, whether it was the alcohol, the hitting of her head, concussion, something. And her judgment was off after that. But I also feel she got out of her car. And for a split second, I got this, that if the cops come, they're going to take me back to where I was running from. And I don't want to be there. I don't know where she went, but I
Yes.
felt like she wanted out of there. So she
Yes.
didn't stick around. I know that they said she was very athletic. I don't know if she thought she could go through the woods, if she thought she could walk down the road and hide. But I felt like she's like, if the cops come, they're taking me back to what I'm running away from. And that's what I got.
Okay. So, and we've got a lot of, hi, Crystal. We've got a lot of agreement that Bill and Cecil, one knows the before and one took the aftermath to his grave. Oof, this is a really sad case. Do you want to pull a card, and can we ask what happened after Maura left the car, or whatever you want to ask?
Oh, no, I think that's okay. We can ask that.
I apologize. My computer crashed. I don't know if you noticed, but thank you, StreamYard, for keeping it going.
Yeah. I think she left the car on her own
Accord.
Yeah, because she wasn't thinking clearly for whatever purposes, or maybe all of them.
Yep, and it is Aries, so yes, Natalie.
Oh, the head.
Yeah, and you can see like Uranus represents an accident. So there's like, I mean, obviously it was an accident, but she was drinking, and I think that she didn't want any help from anyone because she was drunk, and she didn't want to get in trouble like she had just a few weeks earlier. But anyway, go ahead, Amy.
Okay, so interesting, because the cards that came out all came up out in reverse. And the first one was the crown chakra, which would be connecting into, that
Oh,
higher level thinking.
oh,
And
wow.
because
Okay.
it's upside down, this kind of confirms I feel like she wasn't thinking clearly. It was a very rushed decision. I just got to get out of here. I'm overwhelmed. There was something I picked up about the boyfriend. I'm not quite sure. And then I got the light card, number 19 for, okay, the crown chakra 7 for you numerologists out there. And the light shot card is number 19, which would be 10. So 10 means endings. Oh, I wish I could get this better. Oh, there you go. And look at this card. And it came in the reverse. So it's like she's not seeing the full picture. She's not seeing the light. She's just in it over her head. And then this one's when someone said sad, I went there as well. This is number 9, fulfillment of wishes upside down. She was not happy with the way her life was going. She was not fulfilling her wishes.
No, definitely not.
So,
oh, Deanie's in the house. Hi, Aunt Deanie.
where did she go was the question. That was her energy. So let me ask that again.
Yeah.
It didn't really tell us where she went. Now did it?
No.
Where did she go?
I want to go to.
This is interesting. If you look at this right side up, there's water, there's plants. I don't know. She was out in the sticks, wasn't she? Like the woods. And
She was. That's an interesting clue. And look, there it's green and there's money. And that's what I'm getting in my chart too. There was something that had to do with money. So very interesting that would come up. I've got a theory on that one. But everyone thinks it's the bus driver.
Oh,
it's very
now,
interesting.
tell me about the bus driver. Like, did she get on a bus, or was that the guy that found her?
It was the guy that found her, but
Gotcha.
his wife was also calling the police too, and it happened in such a short amount of time. I can't imagine how that would go. So if anybody wants to give us their theory, please let us know.
Definitely.
And then I am going to share just the crime chart real quick again.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see my cursor when I move it around? No.
Not this time. Sometimes I can.
I know. Sometimes you can. All right. Well, anyway, so I'm going to start with, and I'm going to let this go for a few more minutes because we started a little bit late, but 1 p.m. email to her boyfriend, Bill Rausch. Now, I think she had a couple of partner possibilities. So I'm not going to, bash Bill Rausch. However, it's always interesting to look up people's names and what their names mean. But at 1 p.m.
What do you mean by partner?
Bill Rausch was her boyfriend. Okay.
You think she had more than one? Because
she was apparently in.
She had a secret work-related. She was having a secret work-related relationship.
It seemed like that. I think they did confirm.
I know.
That's
my boyfriend.
It was aside from the boyfriend, but this email. Now look how strong that is. How do you know that a planet is strong? It is right. It's either on one of those 4 angles. That's super strong. If it's on a cusp, which is the lighter lines, it's still pretty strong. But this is like maximum strength when you see Uranus, and you can see the arrow there. I pointed to it. 2 degrees. That is a breakup. So she's done. She's done. She's packing up her stuff. She's out of there. She's upset. She wants to leave. Now, what I think is really interesting is the whole day they can't get in touch with each other. She's calling him, leaving a message. She's like, I got your messages from a while ago, or I think it was the day before. I would just like to know where he was. Were they able, the law enforcement or police, were they able to check him out fully? And I mean, I can only imagine they did, because if her dad is saying that he thinks it's somebody that was random, and then he must have, fully checked out alibis, right? I don't know. What do you guys think? Now, Melissa
Well,
says the
according
top
to her
showed
dad,
wrong.
they didn't do much of an investigation because they didn't, they just kind of thought, oh, well, so maybe they did, maybe they didn't check out his alibi. I don't know.
Okay. I don't think he harmed Maura. I think he failed and feels that awful guilt. I think bus driver tried to help her hide in his bus.
Oh,
Interesting. So here's another piece. Oh, go ahead. What were we going to say?
no, I just said that's wow.
Yeah. And interesting, yes. Doji says a breakup about money. It's on 2 degrees. 2 degrees is a Taurus degree. Could mean missing money, but money seems to be prevalent because it just seems like she was withdrawing some money and maybe she was just trying to help somebody. But I just would like to know where her boyfriend was, who, by the way, I think we all know he had some issues later on where he was allegedly, he was accused of sexual abuse, if that's correct. So it was something where he got into some trouble afterwards in the years after. I'm not sure exactly what it was. It's very, very dangerous to be, by the way, broadcasting on Mercury retrograde because you can get yourself in trouble. Case in point, Nancy Grace going on during retrograde and broadcasting in front of the Moscow, Idaho house. She got in a lot of trouble for that. And then Oprah, this time around during retrograde, tried to take a camera crew down to Hawaii. Did not do well with that one. So we can get in trouble for any little thing here. That's why I'm trying to keep it short tonight. Right. But let's see.
Because Val and I gets just talking and we just let things fly. So
now there was also discrepancy on whose jurisdiction the accident took place. Oh, it's just one thing after another with this thing. But look at how Venus is at the top of this chart at 1 o'clock. And, that can also represent Maura. And in Aries, that's head, but 1 degree is the Aries degree. Mars, mad. She is so upset. And the fall, because of that straight line, that red line that goes straight down to Moon, that shows that was a downfall. And that's Libra. That's a relationship. So the relationship was her downfall. A relationship. We don't know which one it was. Right. But then T square with Saturn in the first house there, that's kind of like it stopped. The relationship stopped. And Saturn in the first house. Now this is still at 1 o'clock. So it can just show that she can't get in touch. She's having trouble. But notice that the ascendant is on the 29th degree. This is a good way for anybody who wants to make predictions in their charts, their own charts in their own lives. If you see something at the late degrees, it means you're about to change something. Something is about to take place. So her ascendant would go from Gemini, where maybe she's communicating. Gemini, communicate can mean twin themes, as we've been talking about. But then it goes into the Moon. And so Moon is emotions. It's maybe trying to find a house because that's what she was doing. Cancer means house. And then notice partner. Partner is at the 4th house right now. And can't get in touch, it doesn't seem. Jupiter retrograde. Down there in the 4th house, squaring Pluto. Sometimes that can mean a very jealous person. So, and it has been said that a partner was heard to have been controlling. So, so that kind of checks out in this chart anyway. Don't know if it's true, but I'm just reading what I read online. So let me just. Okay.
Yeah, and Amy said also I think she made herself disappear. I agree with that. I got that she was trying to make herself disappear, but I don't think it went quite as she planned. Yes. I don't know exactly, but I do believe she was trying to do that, to just get away from everything.
Yeah. The biggest thing that is that's hurting the whole thing is Neptune. And that started out for her. I mean, Neptune is alcohol, which she was dealing with. She needed alcohol to get through it. And I can understand that. I mean, when you're just getting hit left and right with just, terrible news, I think that she wanted out of her situation. And so she was just trying to self-medicate. But then you've got Neptune there in the 9th house. So what's going on at 1 p.m.? Neptune, that's something far away. That's something long distance. An email might be Uranus. So she's emailing long distance. And it was shown by, I guess, one of the police officers come along to see that email, that she actually printed it out. Now, why would she have printed it out? I don't know. But apparently there wasn't a lot of detail, but it seemed as if she was breaking up with him. So it seems like this chart is in line with, with what she was going through at the time. So we're going to do the mapping in a little bit on the members channel. So here's the crime chart. And
one other thing I saw in the comments real quick before you get
yes,
into it.
yes, I'm glad you're looking.
Yeah, Natalie had made a comment about maybe going towards where her family was or something. And I only watched one little clip on her. Mm-hmm. And they did talk about an area where her family frequented a lot. Mm-hmm. And that was a possible place. Her father said maybe she was trying to go back there.
Yes, so, I think she was trying to hide. I feel like she was in fear. I feel like somebody was just trying to control her, and she was scared. I mean, the behavior that she had was scared. And so you're telling me that she's running from something. All of these things seem to add up, that there's some kind of an abusive type of thing that she's dealing with. And then suddenly she gets abducted at the same time. It just seems weird to me. And then, partners, I mean, check their alibis a little bit more. I would like to see that. But when you have the police and they're, maybe they're not doing a great job. Look at the crime chart. Mars up there in the 8th, squaring part of fortune. There you go. Right there, it shows the police are not successful with this. So what you would have to do is you'd have to, wow, that's pretty interesting. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Who can be successful? Part of fortune there in the 5th house. Right next to Mercury is maybe a group, and it's in Aquarius, which means an astrology group is successful. So, listen to us, and the police don't like us. You can see that red line goes straight to they're not open to this. So some are, but definitely not this one. Now, does the public like the astrology? Yes, the moon is the public. So they want to hear more. And they want to hear more about what astrology means, Aquarius means in that 5th house. It's the breakup of a boyfriend. And the sun at 22 degrees, the sun is, right there, right at the very end of the 5th house. That might be the end of the relationship, because 5th house is relationships. Last degree, 20 degrees is Scorpio. So that's revenge. So that's, I don't know. I don't know about maybe revenge, jealousy, something like that. So there's a really big grand trine there. Now, here's where it gets a little complicated. At the top, which is Black Moon Lilith, that's the devious person, okay? The devious person is at the top, and it's in Gemini. I mean, we've been talking about Gemini so much.
Oh, my gosh.
But it's kind of like two people. Could it be 2 boyfriends? I mean, sometimes we see that, and when I'm looking at just regular charts for readings, if you don't want to see Gemini, because that means there's 2 people involved with the relationship. So that's a possibility. And, maybe somebody's doing something a little bit risque or devious. But I think for me, just that Jupiter right on that ascendant. At this time, I believe this is 7:27 p.m., February 9th, 2004, in Haverhill, New Hampshire. And the other thing too is you look at the South Node. The South Node, the nodes are always interesting because they give us a clue. And the South Node shows it's connected to Jupiter, which is a partner. And what is Scorpio? Somebody who's jealous. So there's something, it could simply be because it's in the third house that there's having some kind of email or communication. The third house is just like your birth chart or just like your solar chart. Say you pull your solar chart and you want to see what you're talking about that year. Well, you can see by looking at the third house and the third house cusp and the Lord. So, here, the South Node is in the third house. That's what they're talking about. Jealousy, revenge, that kind of thing. A partner, not necessarily the partner that everyone talks about, maybe somebody else. So
I think she had two.
Yeah, maybe that's.
I think that when you said Gemini, I thought, because I got that the boyfriend was kind of estranged, but that there was also some type of secret, possibly work-related relationship with someone who maybe was married.
Yes.
But that's kind of what I got. So
and great Tarot Moon Tarot. Yes, third house is her car left behind. South Node means left behind. So you'd think that it would be Saturn because she had a Saturn car. But Saturn is at the 10th house, in the 10th house, and Saturn in Cancer can mean the end or death sometimes, retrograde even more so. And in the 10th house shows where everybody can see it. The whole world can see that Saturn, and it becomes a famous Saturn because of Cancer meaning fame. So the famous Saturn is at the top. It's trining the vertex and Uranus. So that's an accident, getting into an accident. So yeah, when you're looking at your solar chart, you can look at what you're going to leave behind that year. And that's the South Node, or what you're going to gain. A lot of readings I've had lately, there's North Node in the 6th house, which is getting a new job. So a lot of people are like, no, I'm not going to get a new job. And I'm like, trust me, you're going to get a new job. But I don't want to get a new job. Well, it's too bad.
If you go back there, Unspoken Heart Stillness had a really great question about footprints. Do they show up in the chart? There you go. Yeah, that was a great question.
Well, we're going to look at Neptune for footprints. Look at it right in the middle of everything, right outside the car. Great question. Neptune is footprints. It's in the 5th house, in Aquarius, right next to the car. Mercury is the car. So can show definitely, it could even show 2 sets of footprints because Mercury means 2 or the twin planet, but that could be Maura and someone else. So, but this Aquarius is the big clue there. And for me, it is breakup. So that I think is the theme for this. Mm-hmm. And what we're going to do, we've got to kind of head on over to the members lounge in a second, but we're going to do some mapping, and I'm going to look at her birth chart too. But I think I thought it was very interesting about the part of fortune with, it almost looks like those 2 people at the top in the 9th house, or I don't know, I guess, could it be 2 people? But it looks like they were successful. So what's weird is how the Saturn, the car, the tailpipe, the police found a rag in it. Now explain that to me. What? So can I ask, before we leave, can I ask you, what was I going to ask you? Did she know this? Did she know this person that might have had something to do with her abduction?
Well, I can pull a card on that. Is that what you want me to do? Because,
Yeah.
you know, when I think about the rag in the tailpipe,
Mm-hmm.
you talked about suicide. So I think that she did have some suicidal thoughts. I think there's just depression, overwhelm, needing to get out of the situation. So I forgot the question. What was it?
Okay, hang on one thing. Hang on one second. What zodiac sign rules feet? I can't ever remember what rules what. It's Pisces, and that's ruling the perp. Descendant is in Pisces. So look up what people's last names mean and could give you an extra clue about the perp. So a double confirmation for me. I feel like I know who it is, but it's, you know, when we're stumped, it's usually because we're given wrong information. That's my feeling.
Mm.
And I mean, I lived up there, and I
Just
mean,
making sure.
for so many years, I foolishly walked around by myself, and it is a very, very small chance anything would, I think, would happen to her randomly. So
Yeah.
So
I
the
don't
question,
feel
yeah,
that.
the question was, did she know this perpetrator? Thank you, Melissa.
Well,
What'd you get?
passion ignited.
Oh, God.
So if the perpetrator was involved, now it could just mean that the perpetrator was kind of the whole reason or the start of all of this going down. I'm not saying that she did know the perpetrator, but it was definitely a passion, someone passionate that she was passionate with at one time. I don't know. I'm not.
Maybe it was somebody she was involved with. So it kind of answers our question. She knew him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah, because if she's involved, passionate with,
I know you would hope, you would think. I want to give you a shout out though too. You called it on the delay for the case, for the Coburger case. You knew. So we're going to be asking you more questions. I hope you know.
Okay.
Coming up. I mean, the only thing that I was seeing with the card or with the charts was that it was Mercury retrograde when the investigation started. So we knew there would be a lot of turmoil and chaos. But with the chart I was looking at for October 2nd, it looked good. It looked like if they had that date, that the that the prosecutors would have done okay. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually going to have that date. So interesting too, we were seeing the Uranus squaring Leo and also Venus squaring Leo. So it was kind of like they were shocking each other. It was like prosecutors like, nope, I can't help you. And then Ann Taylor turns around and, delivers another surprise. So
Yeah.
it was like back and
Yeah,
forth.
like let's waive his right to a speedy trial, but bada bing, bada boom, the next day I'm filing to have, the grand jury dismissed case. And I'm just like, indictment. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know anything about that Ann Taylor, but wow, she seems like she knows her stuff, or she's a little firecracker or something. I just get an energy from her that it's like, she's like,
really?
yeah, like I just
Yeah.
feel like she's in it to win it.
You're going to need to be on their toes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Any questions? We've got one here. Natalie, did she deny the help of the bus driver and wife and communicate to someone else to help her? That's a good question. And I think he was saying, do you need me to call somebody? And she was pleading initially in the police report from the witness. It was a witness account. And she was saying, no, but I think it was because, like I said, she was intoxicated. So, but here's another thing another way to look at this chart. And that is Mercury is the witness. So right there, in the 5th house, and it trines the moon. It shows, I think, it shows that that person was trying to help, but you got the black moon Lilith up at the top. What the heck does that mean? It almost shows that maybe they were trying to help for another reason. I don't know, but it doesn't look like a really good. It's kind of like half and half. It's like, but the moon in your 1st house, that's somebody coming in and trying to help you, and has access to her because she's Mercury. Mercury is the victim and also the witness. So, but look at that red line from Mars. It's like, this is the killer right here, and is not allowing it. And I'm like, first of all, one of the witnesses said that they thought they saw somebody in the car, like smoking a cigarette. But, and then kind of backtracked after that. But you would wonder how he's in the mix there. You know, if he's in the car, at some point, maybe he was in the car. But then they got some dogs involved and gave them one of her gloves, and they ran about 100 feet and then lost the scent. So that told the police that maybe she had gotten in somebody's car. So possible that, you know, I don't know. I still think she knew somebody who might have been following her. It seems pretty impossible, though, because if she's trying to vanish, if she is trying to get away, why would she be telling someone where she was? I don't know, but we get weak sometimes. We get weak and we tell people. Yeah, that's the other one. The coach that she had an affair with. That could be another one.
Oh, I
So,
didn't know that.
Oh, well, okay, so
was he married? Because that makes sense with what I got.
Wow. And so when you say you get it, does that mean when you're meditating? Is that how you get it?
Well, okay. Actually, I just tuned into her energy. So yeah, good point on that one.
Oh, okay.
You told me her name and I pulled up her picture because I wanted to connect into her energy. And I wrote down anything that came to me. Or if I ask yes or no questions. Is there a boyfriend involved? And I heard estranged. Okay, so yes and no. You know, and then sometimes stuff just comes to me like you know, like a secret, maybe married, work related, woods, rain, dense, single car accident, closed head injury, concussion, like that. All that just kind of just starts pouring in, and I'm just writing as fast as my little hand can go. And that's what I tune into, is her energy before I look at some of the other stuff. And I guess I didn't look closely because I didn't know that guy that they interviewed that said, oh, she said she wanted to call AAA. And he goes, I knew that was kind of a weird thing. Or she said she had already called AAA. Yeah. And he said, I knew that was kind of a weird thing. But I just don't think she, I got the sense from her energy that she didn't want help. She didn't want to be taken back to where she was running from. That was really what I got. So if she maybe called for someone, it maybe was to take her to continue on wherever she was going. Because I feel like she got out of her car on her own fruition, and she's like, no, I am not going back there, even if I need to walk somewhere or get there somehow. That was the energy I felt around her.
Would you want to pull a card for why the bus driver failed the polygraph, which I did not know? I mean,
I didn't know that either.
That is interesting.
You know, this is interesting that you bring that up, because somebody was just talking about that we don't want people to be so nervous that they don't want to come out and help in these type cases for fear of, you know, being
accused by the true crime community.
Being accused of it. And so is it possible he was just nerves? I don't know if I could pass a polygraph test, because I'd be so nervous. I don't even know if it'd be accurate. I probably have a heart attack or something. No, don't say that. That's not good. Take that back. Cancel, delete. I didn't say that. Okay. So Why did he fail it? Yeah, those are weird kind of questions. Well, the first one that popped out was the sacral chakra, which is about relationships and stuff. I just feel kind of neutral about him, that I don't feel like he failed it because of any guilt. I just think it was just maybe a bad administered test, or he just didn't, he just didn't know how,
Yeah.
I just feel neutral about him. And when I say that, because it's just, I don't feel anything in his energy that says he had anything to do with it.
I believe you. You've always steered us in the right direction. So it's hard to believe, though, because, on one hand, it's hard that a bus driver would come up and do all of this right with his wife within, around the corner, and then the police coming up on him 10 minutes later. I mean, it just, and plus the other thing too, here's another thing that showed her planning. She took her purse. If somebody's going to get abducted, especially if somebody comes up on their car, they're not going to take all of their things. And plus there was some wine and other liquor that was missing. So she took a bag with her, and she took her black bag. So she got on that road. Now people are saying, once you get on the road, then what after that? But I think she decided at this point, if it was her boyfriend, they would have seen those records. So that's why I still am looking at Mercury next to Neptune means missing records, missing emails. And the police, for some reason, can't get to them. It was a long time ago. It was a while ago.
Yeah. So just to throw a whole monkey wrench in all of this, is it possible that she walked out somewhere unsafe and just was overcome by the elements or something?
That's another thing they're saying.
It was February. It was cold. It was I don't know what it was, but what I saw was it was a very dense area. And I don't think she wanted to be, again, I keep going back to that. No, if the cops come and take me. So maybe it was even a point that she went out to hide so that they wouldn't take her back and got lost.
Yeah, she wanted to sober up, I mean, that would be one reason, but yeah.
I'm just throwing that, I just like to throw a little shade on everything.
Yeah, people thought they had such a big search though after she went missing. They thought, how are they not going to find her in the elements? But you make a good point, and something else that the police have looked into.
And then the other thing, though, that occurred to me when I was saying that was, we're talking winter, we're talking not a lot of food, we're talking lots of wild animals in that area. I mean, that's an awful, horrific thing to even think about, but
yeah, it's getting dark. I don't know. But I don't know. I think I want to see what those missing documents are. Those are emails. We didn't see the emails. And we're going to have to see some of her emails, I think. Go back. This is a great time. Mercury retrograde. If you're an investigator on a case, if you're a parent who's looking for some type of explanation, go back. Now is the time. You're going to find something new. So what we're going to do in this next this next segment on the members channel, we are going to we're going to look at Maura's birth chart. And that's pretty interesting. And then we're, we'll do a couple of little tips when you want to map somebody. And thanks, everybody. Thanks, Melissa, for all your kindness. And, you don't always have to agree with us, but there are quite a few people here who believe it was the bus driver. I don't know. We're just going to have to keep looking into it. I'd like to go up there. I want to go up there and I want to see it, because sometimes you really don't know until you go and you see it. So, if anybody's in New Hampshire and wants to take a tour for us, we would love that. So, let me just get one last.
Love to feel the energy in that. Definitely.
Yes. I think she originally had plans to be with a coach at a cabin up there, and he canceled last minute, and she was heartbroken and thought, I'm going to go anyhow. I think she died in the elements.
Mm.
Okay.
Hi.
Interesting. Love you too, Deanie. Good to see you. And let's see. Shelly says Taurus Moon Tarot would assume that would be something he'd want to cover up due to the alcohol. Yeah, alcohol is such a big deal here. And with that trine to Black Moon Lilith, that's kind of like dark liquor,
The heavy stuff.
It's like you can literally put it together, and it's like with Moon, it shows. Well, no, it's not really with Moon. It's more part of Fortune and Mercury. Mercury trine Moon, famous car. The car becomes famous. Everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
And let's see.
And to your point, just real quick, and to your point, the energy right now that's out there in the collective is about people coming back, people being found.
Yes.
And with this Aquarius energy, it's because people are looking, people are talking, people are reviewing. Retrograde, we're reviewing. But how many, I see something every day, just like that girl that came back. I wasn't missing the young girl that ran away when she was 14, that went into the police station at 18. That is happening. Cold cases solved 26 years ago. That energy is out there right now. So if you're into that kind of stuff, yes,
you make a good point too. You see Mars up there sextiling Uranus, which is online, and it also sextiles the vertex in Aquarius, meaning networks, and then it also sextiles Saturn. Why do we care about that? Because we want to see how Mars or the police can be successful. And so from this chart, it looks like they're going to go back through old electronic documents, old Facebook types of, posts, things. So Saturn is going back to the past, going back to the network, going back to those electronic things. So it looks like if they focus on that, they could actually solve this case. So, and Michelle, thank you for writing in. I'm from New Hampshire and I've been on that road. It is very dense mountain full of trees. It is cold in February, can get frostbite fast. It would be easy to get lost if you had all your faculties. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the bears or whatever come in. But the thing is that I think around that neighborhood, there were some houses. So I've gotten lost up there, and when there's dark, when it gets dark, it's very scary. And you think to yourself, should I knock on the door or not? But your mind goes crazy, and you're like, every house looks like, could be a criminal's house, and you don't want to go to that house. You don't know
if you're drinking and
exactly.
And again, I feel like there was some disorientation, like she hit her head or something.
Let's see. Natalie, does anyone in here live in Vermont? Just curious. It's one of the 4 states you don't have to go to law school, and I'd rather move than to actually. It's a good question, Natalie. Now, so, but the thing also is that alcohol sometimes can keep you warm a little bit. So maybe gave her a little extra time. Who knows what happened with her cell phone? By the way, and this is the last thing I'm going to do, and then we're going to go over to the other member channel, but she gave a last phone call at 4:30, and I think it went to voicemail to her partner. So where was he? Why couldn't she get in touch with him? I would like to know. It's just a simple question. I'm not accusing anybody, but I would like to know more. It doesn't really say online, and I think I could put my doubts to rest if I just knew a little bit more information. And her father actually went to, I guess it was the state Supreme Court, to get the information from the police, and they wouldn't give it to him. So it's been a very, very long road for him. They've been very tight-lipped.
He's been tenacious. He's, he's going to do this until he can't anymore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good point, Toji. Yes, that could be the mountains. I would look at that, and I would look at Saturn at the top there. That's cold. And you know, it's just, she's Virgo though, and she's down there in that fifth house. She could have had help if she wanted to, but she just looks like she's in a big fight, and I don't know who she's fighting with, but I think that was part of her. She was so just ready. Maybe somehow she connected with someone and was really angry, but it looks like the person in this chart was very, very angry. So all right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's great to see you on a Friday night. Hope you guys are surviving Mercury retrograde and you had a great week. And I'll be on this weekend, probably Sunday morning, for some coffee and crime charts. So hope you can join me then. And for the members, we'll see you on the other side. Have a good night.
Bye.